Hi, Terry here again. I had an interesting conversation a couple of nights ago with somebody who just stopped by at the door, talking on behalf of a church, that kind of stuff, a local church. And I was explaining where I was in terms of my own faith tradition, who I identify with, what tradition, what convention I identify with, and I surprised myself a little bit that I didn't feel comfortable anymore saying that I was a Christian. Because Christian means so many different things. I hear, Christians that are proclaiming white supremacy or, that are just really radical on different things. So Christian means so many different things today. So the terms I used were, I see myself as a Christ follower in the way of Jesus. And the person felt very comfortable with that. Okay, I follow the universal Christ or divinity or God or all or the ground of all being in the way that Jesus taught. But then they pressed me a little bit and I said, yeah, I don't feel comfortable saying I don't feel comfortable saying, for example, that I am a Christ follower in the way of white Anglo church convention. And then the person got nervous and wanted to know more about that. But that's where I am right now. I'm seeking to see Jesus fresh, to hear his stories in a fresh way, to understand what he taught, the way he taught to know this universal Christ, to experience unity with the divine, to find that ultimate meaning in the way of Jesus. And then also, person felt uncomfortable saying, well, you say you follow Christ in the way of Jesus. Do you believe there are other ways to follow that lead to Christ also? And I said, I struggle with that. I question it, but I worked with someone who followed Christ in the way of Islam. Person, wonderful heart, following through the way of Islam in a caring, loving way. And I said I learned probably more about following Christ in the way of Jesus from my friend who happens to be Muslim than I have perhaps from any other person in the Christian tradition. So it's self-identifying is a little bit more difficult right now. I am less Reformed than I used to be. I grew up in the tradition of the Reformed, Dutch Reformed Church in America that begins or has at its core that original sin and depravity and so on. I focus much more on original blessing and the divine within us, which is more of a stage of my life, more the mystical side of things. So I wonder how you identify, because sometimes the terms get so broad that it's hard to know what it means anymore. Or somebody else might say, yeah, I follow Christ in the way of Jesus, but then I listen to them talk and I'm thinking, that's not the Jesus that I know. So even that's a little bit challenging. So part of it is being as clear as I can be of who I am, and that it's okay to not identify with all Christians, all places, because that means so many different things. So am I a Christian? I guess in one sense I am, and I always will be. It's the tradition that nurtured me and so on, but I feel much more comfortable saying I'm not so much Christian as many people understand it, as a Christ follower in the way of Jesus, who's open to learn about Christ following or to gain more understanding or to be nurtured toward Christ following from those who follow Christ in other ways, because they also inform me, and hopefully in conversations that I can help inform them as well. I guess in a sense, my ego maybe has relaxed a little bit to say that, you know, Christ following in the name of Jesus, you know, we have it all together. We know the way, and other people cannot tell us anything. We need to let them know how to do it. It's more of a humble humility that seems to be sinking in ways that others might feel uncomfortable with, of just saying, hey, I am struggling to follow Christ in the way of Jesus. How are you following Christ? What have you discovered? What are you discovering along the way? How is it going for you? What resonates with you? What have you found to be helpful? So, oh, that's Sam back there saying hi. But anyway, just how do you identify? How are you following Christ? And I hope you are this universal all. There are all these different names for the universal Christ. The all, the ground of all being, the mystery with a capital M, the divine, whatever term you use. How do you identify? The key is keep following Christ the best way you can in your own tradition, hopefully learning from others as we all are following. So that's what I'm thinking about today. Have a great day.